Hey garden friends, welcome back to Flower Patch. Today we're going to do an experiment. Now I need to prune this Thanksgiving cactus. Many call them Christmas cactus. It works for both, so no worries about what we call it. But this one is just a little too hangy downy, making it wider than I want it to be at this moment. And it's root bound, so I really can't stick any of the cuttings down in there. So I'm going to show you how I prune this, what I do with the prunings, and how I'm going to attempt to get it to rebloom, force it to rebloom rather than just hoping it reblooms, and all of that. So let's get rolling. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and or share with your friends. It goes a long way in helping my channel. So let's get rolling with our pruning of our Thanksgiving cactus. Now let's see, are we all the way in the camera? Yes, we are. So what I'm going to do, I guess I could pull it up closer, the camera, so that you can really see. Let me get my microphone up here so I can make sure you can hear me well. I've got dough all over me. I've been making sourdough bread, and if my timer goes off, that's what it's for. It's for me to go do another fold and knead, etc. So anyways, let's get going on the pruning. Now I'm going to look at it, and I want to shorten up some of these. Now this is totally unnecessary. You can leave it all there. In fact, maybe I'll leave half of it just in case the prunings at this time of year, being this is December, would maybe remove the bloom capacity for a second bloom this winter. I don't know. This is an experiment, I said. So I'm going to, my chickens are out there. I let them free range today. It was so warm, lovely and warm. For this time of year, it was exceptionally lovely. Alrighty, so this one has a bud on it, but maybe I'll leave that one. No, because it's going to go in the basement, where it is stays around 50, 55 degrees, and that's where we're going to put it to force it into that dormancy period that they require to bloom. So I'm going to put my glasses on so I can see what in the world I'm doing. I am going to shorten this one up to this point. Now what I do is I twist, hold it between my thumb and forefinger, and twist. Now I've shown you this before, but you see that little white point? Am I getting that for you, this little white point? You want that left on, because that's where the roots come out. Now if that's broken off, it doesn't root usually. So there could be exceptions. I don't know where the other piece went. Anyway, so I root in water. Some people root directly in the soil. That has worked a couple times for me, but I have better success in the water. Now what I do is sometimes I'll have stones in the bottom of the container, or I'll put a layer of perlite. Now this is a Christmas cactus cutting that I rooted, and you can see the perlite is all connected to the roots. I need to pot this up. Yeah, there's perlite left in this one, so I may just go ahead and use this one. And it has a couple stones in it and some perlite, so I could use that one too. So I'm just going to stick this down in there. Why I have the stones is it kind of can lift it, not kind of, it can lift it up out of the wetness or the water for a bit. I keep it topped up to just barely the top of the stones, and then the water will help it to root, but it just needs the humidity, the moisture mostly. So the perlite and the stones will keep that up above. So I'm going to put these over here for the moment, and then I can pot those up into a pot. Yeah, I almost lost my Christmas cactus last year. I don't know what happened to it. It just started dying. It was huge. And so I was able to salvage some cuttings off of it. And now I have a whole plant in the studio cottage, Primrose Cottage, and these cuttings to get potted. So this one is my fuchsia pink one. So what I do many times when I don't see my marker is I write the name on it. So if, yeah, I forget, because if I take cuttings from many of my Thanksgiving cactuses, which I have 3 or 4 colors, salmon, white with pink, the fuchsia pink, and a yellow. So that's 4. So that's the ones I have of the Thanksgiving cactus. So I took that one back to here, and I want this one about the same length. So I am going to take this one back to here. I don't know, it's probably got everything in the way here. So this one, that one got cut back to here. I could cut these ones back. They're a bit smaller. And doing the same thing, twist and pull. They both have the little white piece on the end. So on it. Oops, and they will go in there as well in the perlite jar. Now this one has a real thick branch right there with these two pieces coming out of it. Now some people will take just one little section and they'll stick it in soil. I should do some of those, huh? And see how they work in pot root in soil. Okay, so this one I want to take back. It's going to look lopsided because on this side I'm keeping them long, or sure I'm taking them off. That one's a pretty tough one. Okay, there we go. You don't have to root them all. You can throw some away if you want. Yep. Okay. So this one is going up and is not flowing way over. So the dried ones I just pulled off. They just come off when because they're ready. Now this one has a bud, but it looks like it was going to drop. Now the bud drop can happen if your room is too hot, too dry, if there's a draft, those kind of things. My husband has been getting our house very, very hot. And so even though this is upstairs in my office, which of course, you know, heat goes up and it's upstairs, yeah, it probably hastened this blooming. Now this one was going to bloom, but that's okay. I'm going to take it off. Yeah, so even underwatering, you can then have bud drop. And a lot of people think these are, because they're called a holiday cactus, whether it's Thanksgiving or Christmas, they think dry. No, they like to be watered like any house plant. And you only let them dry out when you're going to force them into dormancy. Like I'm going to put this in the basement and it's going to be in there 12 weeks. And I will not go and water it. It will dry out, and in the cold, hopefully it'll reset blooms. Okay, so like this one's way long. I want this one to come off. Some of these are tougher than others. And we'll go into Primrose Cottage, and I'll show you the ones I have in there in just a minute. So this one is way over here. This is kind of a drastic prune for this. I haven't pruned it this much in a while. Now, one way to get a really full plant is to root these and put several in one pot. And that's how you get the real full ones. You'll see the ones at the store, at least the ones I looked at our local garden center, and it had like 5 in a little pot. And they were all blooming. And that's because it likes to be root bound or in tight quarters to bloom. All right, I wasn't going to take all the long ones off because I was testing to see if, that one did I get? Yes, I did get the white bit. I was going to test and see if the long ones that were unpruned actually bloomed better than the pruned ones. Because they say they set the buds during the summer. But if they've already budded and you took them off, does that make a difference? I don't know. Like I said, this is an experiment. But this is how I prune. Whether it's this time of year or a lot of times this one would rebloom, not as heavily as the first bloom, but it would rebloom in March. And that was really nice. But I'm going to try to force it to have even more blooms. Okay, so these other ones I'm not going to mess with too much. We are just going to put them in the basement. And then I'll see how quickly these root in here. Quite a bit in there. So there we have it. Now this one is very, very root bound. And one thing about the terracotta, it seems like the roots want to try to go through it. So a lot of times when you're repotting ones like this size, or in a terracotta pot, you would run a sharp knife around the edges to dislodge the roots from the sides of the terracotta pot. Now you can grow in plastic. Many people do. I have some in plastic pots and that works as well. Some of them are like some of these I call them self-watering pots, and they have a little drainage tray attached, which makes them convenient. Boy, this thing needs to be watered. This is one of the ivy geraniums I started from seed last spring. Okay, so there's how to prune your Christmas and or Thanksgiving cactus. And if I wasn't going to force this into dormancy in my basement, I would just put it back in my studio cottage. It is cooler in there than in our house, so that it would rebloom in March, probably, because it has the darkness time frame that it needs from now until then to put on another set of buds. Okay, so this is the side that got pruned, and this is the side that did not. Now this side over here, when I'm wanting to shorten this plant, this side will get pruned after the second bloom if I actually do force it to rebloom. So into the basement we go with this Thanksgiving cactus. So here is my basement. I have the light on right now, that's why it's bright enough for you to see rather than the spooky darkness. But I'm going to put it in here. Now that vent there would probably let in too much light, so I need to go to an area that gets a lot less light. Yes, it needs to be cleaned in here. Something fierce. Look at my girls following me around. Okay. Yeah, we've been moving a lot of things because we've been cleaning out stuff, so everything's in disarray. But here is a spot I can set this, and I'm not in here enough for it to disturb the darkness, but there you go. One Thanksgiving cactus put into the dark basement. And over there is the amaryllis I put in here, and they still haven't lost their leaves. They haven't dried up enough. Oh yeah, there it's going. You see that one down there? So I just did a post on amaryllis after bloom care. These are not the ones. These are the ones that I had outside in the summer, and I put them in here a little bit later than I should have. And there's another one to get blooms this time of year. So I've still got a few more weeks. Go ahead, girls, get out of the way. So now the Thanksgiving cactus is in the basement. I'll take you into the studio cottage to see the ones I have in there. Before we head on into Primrose Cottage to check out the other ones, I'm going to get this one potted up. So I'm just going to use regular potting soil. I don't use anything specific or special. Like a lot of people say use a cactus mix, and that's not necessary. Completely unnecessary. Now sometimes I will loosen it up with some horticultural sand, but not always. Sometimes just a good quality potting mix will be fine. Absolutely fine. So I filled it up to almost the rim. I keep it below here because when I water it, I want it to be able to hold the water and all of that. So now this one has plenty of nice big roots, and I'm gonna set it towards the center because it's gonna splay out. And I put all the roots down in there and firm it in. And then I have another one down here. I will put it right next to it towards the center. Is there another one in there? Nope, that was it. Okay, so we will take this into the studio cottage, Primrose Cottage, and then we will look at all the others. I hope it's not too dark in here. Doggone it. I guess I could try the overhead light. The overhead light's kind of garish, but I mean, it throws harsh colors, but let's see if that helps you to see a little bit better. I don't know. Anyways, over here, oh, there's my jacket. Left it in here the other day. Anyways, here is, this one is called Exotic Dancer, and it's just about getting done blooming. It started just after the other one that we just pruned. But look at the color on this one. Isn't this gorgeous? I love that color. Anyways, it feels a little dry. I need to water it. But in here, it stays cooler. It stays below 70, probably between 65 and 70 a lot of the times. So all of my cactus in here, my plants, Zygo cactus. This is the white one. It's about done too. Let me see if I have one. Now, what's so interesting, sorry I jumped subjects, is this one is supposed to be white too, but it has a little bit more pink. So it shows you how they can maybe try to revert back to the original color of a parent plant or something. I have the, I have a salmon colored one, but the blooms aren't still. I showed you before, and I'll put up a picture of it, but this one back here is the salmon. And all of these I started from cuttings in water like the one I just did. Oh, I got a little bug in there. But you see how this one had a pretty little bloom on it. All of these are dry. I haven't been out here in a couple days. So even though this window does get a little bit of direct light, it's so faint or through the trees or so little that it doesn't really bother them as if it would if it got all day. But it stays, it's darker longer out here because there's no interior lights coming on. So here is my Christmas cactus. This is the true Christmas cactus, not the Thanksgiving cactus, that I potted up that had been rooted. So I'll put that over there and I'll water it well. And here is the leftover, ouch, what in the world? Something poked me. Anyways, this is the parent plant or one of the cuttings. So this one, it looks like it's going to bloom, and this is, like I said, the true Christmas cactus. So there's 2 blooms on it, and that's doing quite well. And that has, oh no, that's pretty dry too. So I need to water all of these, and I will prune, like this one, look how, this one could use maybe a little bit of a pruning. Not really. I think I pruned this one last year, and it did great. So see how it's shorter, not so lanky out there, more inside, so it's fuller, lusher. Now this one, I really got to do something with this thing. Maybe just replace it. Look at that old gnarly. Whoop, there's my timer. Why won't it stop? Okay, there it did. So you see this one? This one's got this old gnarly bit on there. It's quite ugly. So I may, when this is done, prune these off, these sections here that look healthy. This one, I think this one got scalded in the sun this last summer, or some sun came through. But the pretty ones I'll take off, and then I'll start them, and then I will take this out completely, and I'll just put all the new rooted starts back in here. And this one used to be much whiter. You know what? Every year they change. I have a yellow one. It has not bloomed yet. This is my yellow. And one year it looked like it was going to revert back to pink. And then last year it looked yellow again. So I don't know what kind of conditions it was bothered with it. It tried to revert. But I see no evidence of buds on this, and I don't know why. Maybe it's just going to be later blooming. So that, my friends, is how I prune my Thanksgiving Christmas cactus, how I start those prunings, cuttings, and my other colors that I have here in my little primrose cottage where I paint. I'll show you what I'm working on. I was trying to do a practice for painting amaryllis. So that's my goal, to have a tutorial up on my other website for painting amaryllis flowers, just because I thought that would be fun. All right, I hope you enjoyed this video and I didn't get too rambly, and I will see you next time when I've got something else fun going on. Oh, and be sure to go back and check out my amaryllis after bloom care video. You might find that educational too. Okay,